I'm going to introduce you to a bit of the book that's in the middle. So just to catch you up, the book itself is about a family living in Sacramento in the 80s. And this family is composed of an Englishman named George and his Indian wife, Viji. And they're triplets. And everything kind of gets thrown out of whack one summer when George's father shows up from Nottingham, from England, to live with them, unannounced. No one really knows how long he's staying or why he's there. So the scene that we're getting into now is Thanksgiving. Viji is cooking Thanksgiving dinner for her family, her father-in-law, and his girlfriend, who happens to be the housekeeper from next door. So George is her husband, and Stan is her father-in-law. This was the night that would change things. A white cotton dress, packed away for 12 years, developed brown lines across its creases. She was half sorry that they vanished in the wash. Slowly, she ironed the dress, smoothing away any traces of the past, careful not to burn any new lines in. The dress was a relic of a time before things were so very certain. Warm, creaseless, supple as age, willowy as chance. She wore it over a slip, brushed her hair, and waited for the doorbell. Oblivious to what would set this Thanksgiving apart from all others, aside from the fact that the children had made hats, Viji tipped a colander of cauliflower into a pot of boiling water. Cauliflower was acceptable at Thanksgiving, she assumed. They must have had cauliflower in Vermont or Massachusetts or wherever that first one was. Viji had never been to the East. She held the can over a serving dish and waited for the pull of gravity to coax the purple cylinder from its home. It plopped down. She sliced along the depressions left by the can. Cranberry sauce. It was hard to say what precisely set off the events that would become that night. It might have been the cranberry sauce. It might have been the pilgrim and Indian headwear the triplets had made at school, or the record heat, 81 degrees on the third Thursday of November. It might have been the effect of the record heat on the gravy from the green packet, or the mashed potatoes from the box of powder. It was more likely the 4 brimming glasses of wine that Stan sailed through, or his Guatemalan girlfriend sucking politely at her fork, or the doorbell, an 8-note melody, its 5th note missing, a chime pulled off by Avi and never reattached, that now coaxed Viji from the kitchen. Around the table, Stan and Lupe, resplendent in his and hers tracksuits, an early Christmas gift. The triplets, each wearing a headband with a feather poking from it. We'll be Indians, Karen said, and obviously Dad and Granddad are pilgrims, handing them 2 pyramids of black construction paper with buckles painted across the front. Lupe's a pilgrim too, Abby said. But she's not white, Karen argued. From here followed a lengthy debate about the whiteness of Lupe, whether she was more Indian or more pilgrim, made longer by a lesson on colonial history from George. In the end, by virtue of being Stan's girlfriend, she became a pilgrim. Next to Kieran sat Anisha Mehta, just then scraping her toe up the side of his shin, making him wish for a genie that could make him disappear. Then came Kamla, Indian. Viji, Indian. Mom, you get to be Squanto, baby girl said. Thank you, chum. And finally, George, one of 3 pilgrims. I'm beginning to feel surrounded, he said. On the table, the cauliflower, sulfurous and warm, the cranberry sauce that spread across its plate like a vivisected slug, the mashed potatoes, a mountain of fluff in a bowl. Kamla had picked up the box of potato powder when she came in and made a joke about laundry detergent. George had laughed and offered Kamla a drink. Salad, wine, nearly half gone, bread rolls, store-bought, stuffing from a pre-made mix because it tasted better that way, gravy, au paquet vert. Overseeing all was Lupe's bounteous bust, propped on the table, sitting attentively between her knife and fork. And finally, the turkey waited solemnly at center stage. Tom Turkey, Viji had named him after a children's cartoon she'd seen. After she'd reached up his behind for the giblets, she had felt the need to apologize. Tom Turkey, she whispered, I'm sorry.